We've got, I believe, what is it, Mr. Martin, who is going to be presenting, is on here. Mr. Martin, you're on?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Councilwoman Lee?
Hello, sir. I'm fine. Is there anybody here from the mayor's office or anything that I need to acknowledge before we get started? Okay, it doesn't look like it. So I am going to get ready to turn it over to you, Mr. Martin. And as I always tell at the beginning of the meetings, you're going to start your presentation to whatever you want to add or have added. And I hope that you had the information given to Rosie and Rosie sent it out to the database. So this is a time for discussion and for ideas. If some of the constituents see some things that they want to add or bring to your attention that might help the program or help fit in this area, or they may just talk to you about how it fits in this area, because we have a lot of, as we have talked about before, a lot of building in this area. So if you have other people with you, I'm asking that you assign somebody to the chat because a lot of things are put in the chat um, and questions may come up. And let me acknowledge, I didn't at the very beginning. Thank you so very much, Miss Rosie, for everything you do. Y'all just don't know what all she does. But thank you. And Mr. Martin, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lee. I appreciate you, and I also appreciate, Ms. Rosie as well. So she's, definitely a great help. So first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dave Martin. I am a local developer here. I do have a few other projects in Antioch area in Southeast Nashville. Been developing for several years. Kind of started out specifically doing rezoning and entitlement work, and then transitioned over for several years doing industrial development. So working with warehouses and smaller fulfillment centers out in some of the other areas, Laverne, Mount Juliet, some of those areas too. But several years ago, I transitioned more into residential development. It's definitely a passion of mine. I'm a third generation developer, originally from Indianapolis. My grandfather built single family homes in Indianapolis. And as much as I tried to go in a different direction as far as development, my heart and passion is in development. So I also have Adam Sager on the line here with Dell and Associates, and he's going to be sharing as well. And we're going to kind of walk through an opportunity that we'd love to get some feedback on related to the parcel that's right there at the front of the Carruthers Crossing. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with that right there at the corner of Carruthers and Battle. And definitely would love to get some feedback, love to get thoughts on that, and see if there's an opportunity for us to be able to create something together that community's proud of and happy to have as part of the community. So I'll let Adam share in a second here and kind of walk through the proposal. If you're okay, I'll manage the chat as well and be able to provide input throughout the presentation and the discussion, as well as respond to questions in the chat here also. Um, I know I've worked with a couple people in here, Mr. Stern, John Stern especially too, knows that I'm pretty open, very transparent. So I mean, there's nothing that we can't talk through, ask, and I'll be very transparent. If I don't know or we haven't figured out, I'll definitely share that. But any other areas too that are causes for concern, collaboration, opportunities to work together, definitely appreciate that opportunity to work with the group.
Let me ask you this before Mr. Sager gets started. Did you, because what I usually ask you all to do is walk around and ask some of the people in the immediate area. So I don't know if you all had a chance to talk to any of the folks around in that area, because we have a variety of people on this particular Zoom meeting. So it may not be just folks in that area. Did you have a chance to walk around and talk to some of the other people who may not be on here?
We talked to a couple people in the neighborhood and also across the street, and we're trying to get in touch with some of the folks across the street. But we did talk
Cool.
to a couple of neighbors here, and look forward to potentially doing that again in some other forums, whether it be small group forums, opportunities to kind of talk more with the neighbors a little more informally also.
Thank you.
No, thank you. So Adam, I see here. Are you able to share the potential site plan?
Yeah, if I can share, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you okay.
I'll have to switch it over. I thought that Rosie was the only one allowed to share, but let me pull that up and see if I can do that.
I think she has to do something, send it to you or give you permission, but other people can share it.
Yeah, I made him a presenter,
Okay.
but I have 2 Adams, so I'm hoping I did the right one.
If not, I hope the other Adam has something to share, huh?
That's right.
Right now. All right, so I've got parcel viewer open, and I'm going to start with that. Let's see here. Screen 1, share. And if I can just get confirmation, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is just kind of start from the outside, work our way in so everybody can get an understanding of where we are in the world. Everything you see cross-hatched in red, the candy stripe hatching, that's Carruthers Crossing, the UDO. I'm sure there's people all here who live there. And then you have Burkett Road and Cane Ridge Park up on the high side. Laverne's over to our right, and then Battle Road comes down, and we're talking about technically 3 parcels. One of them's really skinny here along Battle Road, but technically 3 parcels, and I'll highlight them here. We've got this one, which is about 5 acres. We've got this one, it's about 6.3 acres. And then this little tiny sliver right here is about a ½ acre. So we're getting close to about 12 acres. So that's not exact, but I'm going to be calling this 12 acres of land that we're looking at. That's the subject property, and it consists of those. And it's right here on the corner as you turn off of Battle and enter into Carruthers Road. So I'm going to switch over to the layout that we did. I've got an aerial image behind it. Did that switch okay? Can you see that, Dave and Councilmember Lee? Okay, perfect. So on the right, those are existing homes of Carruthers, and those are out there today. And what we wanted to do is anytime we're given a piece of property to lay something out, think through a development, we try to get it in context with what's going on. And the context of what's going on is that you have a more dense area over on your right of Carruthers Farms. And then over on the left, you have a more rural type of setting. And so this is an attempt to try to transition from more dense to less dense. So this first 5 acre parcel right here is zoned RM9. It is in the UDO. And being zoned RM9, we start off with what an RM9 would typically see, which is right now we have an attached townhome product that will be rear loaded. Then we transition that across a courtyard where we would have single family homes rear loaded here that would front the courtyard. And then on the far left side, you're going to see a row of single family homes that are larger. And we're zoomed out quite a bit. I want to make sure everybody understands context and scale of what we're trying to do. I don't think I dimensioned this, but I have the ability to draw an arrow here. So from the roadway to this house right there is 100 feet. We are wanting to respect the kind of somewhat rural nature of Battle Road. It's like Councilmember Lee said, it is transitioning. The area is growing, but we still want to respect the presence of Battle Road. And when we offset it by 100 feet, that allows us to hopefully save a lot of these trees here that are a little bit higher on the hill. The other thing we want to do is not put any new driveways on Battle Road. So we're coming in off of Carruthers. We would ask to include this into the UDO of Carruthers. And we would come off of Carruthers Road and have an internal looped rear loaded drive. And even all the single family homes that front Battle Road would not have a driveway on Battle. They would all access from the internal side. To help provide some scale, we created these lot lines here. All the lots along Battle will be a minimum of 1/3 acre lots. So you can kind of get a context of size. And we want to think of this as kind of like a front facade of Carruthers. whenever I've driven this road, when I drive down Battle, it is undeveloped. Yes, that's nice. I understand. When you turn here, it kind of starts right here. And so we thought we could start in with putting nice homes 100 feet off the road and then clean up the edge all along Battle and as you turn the corner and into Carruthers. And it affords us a couple different opportunities. One is to put a new sidewalk down. I know there's a kind of a smaller, narrow sidewalk. I don't know how big it is right along Battle, but put in a nicer, newer sidewalk and potentially even fence it to give a nice access up to the park, up to the north. I know my wife walks the kids when we had strollers not that long ago, and she doesn't want all the kids running out in the road. So we would want to work with NDOT about potentially putting some type of fence or something between that sidewalk and Battle Road to keep it safe. There's other opportunities to connect as well. This would take further work with the community or with Nashville, but a potential pedestrian connection coming up through here with a public sidewalk to get up through here. Now, I know that if anybody on the call lives in one of these, you're probably thinking, "Oh my gosh, they're proposing something up against the back of our lots," and I understand that. So what we did is offset this about another 80 plus feet off the property line and really pull those away from that property line, and then install a real heavy vegetated buffer with evergreens and to be sensitive to that transition. And then what it would look like, you would have a sidewalk as you walk up through here where the fronts of the houses would be on your left and on the right side would be a heavily vegetated area, and then come up here to a parking area and potentially get access into the park. Again, that's nothing guaranteed. It's just something we're thinking through and kind of putting it out there to get input. We want to be sensitive to the folks that turn onto Carruthers and that already live there. So we're putting our stormwater and vegetation and buffers kind of along Carruthers right here to hide the sides of any of these units. So hopefully you won't see any of those as you drive by. And then to give you context with this courtyard here, it's about the size of 2 football fields, ballpark. So it's about as wide. Each one of those kind of rectangles is ballpark football field-ish. It's a little bit narrower, but about as long. We're trying to create a nice big open space, make it more of a park-like setting. Hopefully be an amenity to the folks that live right here and the folks in the community. So with that, Dave, I think I covered just the bones of it. And I'm happy to talk about the entitlements and the processes and all of that if anybody's interested in that. But I'll stop right there and see if you wanted to mention anything else about the plan itself.
Sure. No, thank you, Adam, for sharing. I think the only other thing that we talked about potentially adding, if the community was interested, was doing some entrance monuments right there at the north end as well as the south end of this particular parcel that, highlights the community. And so you can see when you come in down from the north or south on Battle Road to have a nice entrance there that connects with 2 fences so that know that you're entering into this community here.
I think that we also had a conversation about some, and I could be remembering incorrectly, about some traffic calming measures that you all would help with even on the entrance road going in there where they are speeding down that cut through area, because I know that that's what that neighborhood really needs as well.
Yeah, that's correct, Councilwoman Lee. We did talk about that, and one thing we did find out is there is a open request right now for traffic calming there on Battle that NDOT is working, as well as the fact that we would include traffic calming here in this particular parcel. We have opportunities to do speed tables or some other areas here that we can work with NDOT in our individual parcels here, as well as contribute to the opportunity that is already under consideration for traffic calming on that main street that is right now with NDOT.
Okay, so the main street going into Carruthers Farm, not just Battle, but the main street that goes down all the way to that 4-way until the stop sign. You're saying that they have that, because we've been calling on that forever for traffic calming. So you're
Yeah, I
saying
think
that they have that in?
when we looked at, I think that they confirmed that there is a traffic calming study that's being done or scheduled right now for Carruthers Road as well, that goes down all the way down to like Princeton Hills.
Great. So that means that they have a traffic calming study. What we're asking to do is put something there to help with it, because the residents that are there already know how the traffic is. I was talking to one group of neighbors, and they said they purposely would park on both sides of the street, hoping that would
Slow them
kind of
down
slow
some.
it down. Exactly.
Sure.
So when you're looking at your stuff, even though they have that study, it may be something, and I think that's what I actually did ask, that be included if the community approves or thinks this is a good idea. If that starts building, that we also put something at least down to the stop sign on that other area to kind of help them out a little bit.
Okay, and we're perfectly fine with that, and we'll agree to that and look at if we, move forward and we do that, we would include that in the next version and some detailed things that would be part of the plan.
Other input, please.
About, gosh, I guess 9 months ago. Actually, it started, what would it be, 14 months ago. We were talking about these 3 parcels of land, a proposal being put forth by, I don't remember who the developer was, Catalyst or somebody. And in it, after the community had something like 9 meetings, I think, over 9 meetings, we ended up identifying that this property is actually currently only developable, only half of it is developable at a density of 1 housing unit per 2 acres. That is both the current zoning. It is also the land use policy. It is a T2 transect, which means rural. And that T2 transect goes all the way to the county line on Battle Road, then all the way back, picks up all the property on this side, other than the stuff that's in the UDO, and follows that down, basically down the other side of Battle as it heads towards your neighborhood, Antoinette, Apple Valley, and then jogs up. So the land use policy for the area is for it to remain rural. And back then, I didn't find very many people that were wanting to suburbanize it. The Cane Ridge Community Club and the Cane Ridge Community Trust, well, the trust has made application a year ago to have a change in the Southeast Community Plan so as to preserve more rural area in both council districts 31 and 33. That is in process. So we're looking at enlarging the area of rural protection, keeping the character, some of the character that's left in Cane Ridge. But this property also has, the other half of this property resides within the urban design overlay, the Carruthers Crossing urban design overlay, which is supposed to dictate how this development occurs. In recent years, the Metro Planning Department has been interpreting this rather significant plan in very odd ways. So I don't know exactly what they would do if this was given to them. But right now, that area, that property is supposed to be left as open space. And the reason that it was created as open space was that the owner of the property back then, all the 5 acres, And then the owner of the property that was the other 5 acres closer to where the homes are now in Carruthers Crossing, in order to get it's my understanding, in order to get the property owner support of the UDO back in 2006, 2007, the developers actually gave these guys 5 acres. And they also promised them that they wouldn't build anything on these 5 acres. They would be isolated. They would be rural still. And so that was kind of a compromise that appeared to occur in the original development scenario. So I don't know that I certainly wouldn't want to be the one to change that. It does also fail to mimic even if you were going to create a neighborhood edge development and incorporate this new 10 acres into the existing UDO, well, I'm sorry, the 5 acres that's not in the UDO, plus altering the open space 5 acres that is already in the UDO. I'm sorry, Council Lady, this is a very complex area. You would likely be looking at something in the neighborhood of lots that were like your lot, Council Lady, RS 15, probably a little larger as you, that would be set back probably 200 feet, like the houses are on the other side of Battle Road, and you would feather it back into houses that were even equal to or larger in quality and style of those that are existing along that property line, where the open space is supposed to be. It's kind of hard to describe. I can show it to you in pictures, if that would be of help. But basically what I'm saying, it fails to meet the basic standards for development in this area. And a lot of work, we'd have to change the community plan in the direction we don't want to, which is to create more suburban type development instead of maintaining rural development. We'd have to alter the urban design overlay plan to eliminate more open space, especially that which is close to the existing housing. We would be, and we'd have to be changing basically the definition of neighborhood edge, even if we went through all the craziness needed to make this work. I've mentioned this to Adam and to Dave. This is not new information for either of them, Council Lady. They knew of this. They wanted to push forward with this. And so we're happy to hear their arguments. And I just don't see it fitting in to existing plans or to future plans for our community.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I am going to ask, because they may have some comments on what you were saying, and I'm going to ask if there are any other residents that want to make a comment besides just criticism, if there's a piece that you can do to have input, because I think that these developers are like open, so that it may be that they change their stuff altogether if you give them certain stuff. I don't know. So if when you give stuff that doesn't work, if you talk about what does work, maybe that'll help the conversation. I just don't want the conversation to be stifled if there's something that can be done or something that y'all can help them with to see or to understand or whatever, so that it won't just be cut off. And it may be that it ends up something that we can't use, but I do want a good dialogue. So I'm going to give them a chance now if they needed to share something back with what John said, or if somebody else also has some thoughts about it, because I see most of you have been on these meetings before and have had heard the same information that John was saying as well. So, okay.
Councilwoman Antoinette, I would like to speak. My name is Ty Briley. I am a resident
Ty.
here. Nice to meet you via this way. I'm a little under the weather. That's why you won't see my face on this call.
Okay.
So I hear what you're saying. And my question, though, is so with this proposal and this being brought, present here, I guess why I'm concerned about why the burden of suggestions would fall on the current residents if these plans have already kind of been in place. To me, as a small business owner, I try to make sure I understand what I'm getting into before I go and try to contract a job and whatnot. So if this was already well known information, why are we being presented with this? Is my first question. And then my second question is, has that been considered in this proposal? So happy to give like constructive criticism, of course, but I guess if that information that John has shared has just kind of been, pushed aside, like hopefully we can just move forward with this, I guess I'm curious as to why. Because all this information is there.
In answer to my, excuse me one second. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm sorry. To answer your question, this is something that is in place now, and I don't think the information that John said is being pushed aside. I think he was giving what is there now and what is part of it now. And so that's what that is. And why is it being brought to you? It's brought to you because they brought to me some changes that they wanted to do. And I had said, whenever anything is coming before me for change or anything, I'm going to bring it to you all. So that's why that is.
Okay, appreciate the response. So I guess I
Sure.
filled it over for the developers.
Sure. And I'm okay to jump in there too, both Ty as well as John. So yes, what John was saying is a lot of the historical information, you may have a little bit more of the context on, the conversation that happened than we do. But regarding the plan itself, a lot of those things are accurate. Adam, if you don't mind pulling up the parcel viewer again. So, and I won't take too much of the time responding, but I will touch a couple of the things here. So Adam, if you can check off of the zoning and keep it where it is right now for the characters to check off the zoning. So if you look right there on the northwest part of the parcel, so that 5-acre parcel that we talked about in that small sliver that are currently part of the T2 rural maintenance, just to your left there, Adam, on the west of that. That one is the parcel that we were talking about that John was saying doesn't currently fit within the plan of the more than one home per 2-acre home site, which we do acknowledge. I've already met with planning in those areas too, and what would happen with this is if the plan was to move forward, we would have to get a policy change for that one particular parcel. There's already been feedback that it probably would be supported by planning because you see the rest in the parcel just to the east, which is part of the UDO, as well as to the south, are part of the T3 neighborhood evolving. So we will not try to do a sweeping change across the entire west part of Battle Road, but that one individual parcel at the corner, which if you look at it actually is kind of an outlier because the rest of the community there is part of the T3 neighborhood evolving, which does support the plan that we're doing. We're not trying to go more dense than what the T3 neighborhood evolving or the current Carruthers Crossing community is based on. For this particular parcel, we also would not be trying to do any multifamily zoning or anything. It would be single family only on this new parcel that we were looked at getting rezoned and included into the UDO. And as John mentioned, we'll also look at doing that as part of the neighborhood edge. Where the 5-acre parcel is currently open space. As you all probably drive through there every day, you see it's not well maintained. It is just wild brush is the one we'd like to do the community there with the, nice higher end homes and the townhomes, as well as create a maintained and green courtyard. So it's currently open space, but it's open space because it's not developed at the current state, not that it's actually usable open space. What we would like to do would be to activate that open space into courtyard that is able to be used by residents and be able to walk through and be able to be enjoyed and things like that. If families wanted to sit out and have a picnic or, place ball or throw the football around in there, that would be available to them on that particular parcel. So yes, that 1 5-acre parcel at T2 would have to be a policy change for the T3 neighborhood evolving, which then would have it in line with the rest of the community there. So the previous plan that had come through, several months ago from previous developer did have homes that were outside the character. Our plan would not have homes that were outside the character. We would follow the UDO plan that is already in place, and there was a lot of work that was put into that, and would follow that consistent plan with both the neighborhood edge as well as the neighborhood general that we will be proposing to do here on the property. So John's context around where the property currently is 100% accurate, but even through working through this and talking with planning is don't feel like that there's a significant challenge with what we will potentially be proposing as it fits within the community there. And just for context, that's the kind of darker green there right in the middle is the one that's T2, which is adjacent to T3, both on the right, which is on the east, as well as down below it on the south is all T3 neighborhood evolving.
But not to the west.
But not to the west. On everything on the west side of Battle.
North.
That's correct. On the west side of Battle, well, the north is a park, so that's still
That's
outside.
T3. That's T2 by definition.
By definition, because it's a park, yes. So we wouldn't be impacting the park, and everything on the west of Battle would, but that one parcel on the east side of Battle, is the only one that we will potentially be requesting to have a policy change along with the potential rezoning of that one parcel. That is correct.
Thanks for your response. I guess my only other question too in reference to this is, as far as egress, Councilwoman mentioned that we struggle tremendously with the speed. It's a mess here. I'm a first responder as well, so I see it. We had an accident not too long ago here in the neighborhood because of people speeding through as a cutway. So this will, let's be honest, it's going to enhance traffic. That's going to end up on Carruthers Road. And seeing only one egress, I'm concerned how that works. Maybe I don't understand. It seems like only one egress in and out of this area seems concerning for emergency response. But again, I could be unaware of the rules of how that works. So, and so that's, I guess there's a two-part. Is there only going to be one egress? And then why is the egress off Carruthers Road and not off of Battle Road? Kind of silo that a little bit more.
Yeah, John, do you want me to take that one?
Sure, Adam.
Sure. So one egress for this many units is it's not a lot, it's not a little. It's kind of like on the gray area. When we go to the fire department, you're talking about 30 to 50 residential units is kind of where the tip over point is. And keep in mind, we're still at like the 50,000 foot view. We wanted to put something on paper as a starting point, but by no means is this final. I mean, we can certainly look at extending another access here for safety purposes, especially if the fire department requests something like that. And a lot of times what we'll do is make those emergency only. People have varying about that too, but we're certainly open to those types of suggestions. As far as coming out onto Carruthers, whenever you get into the technical side of traffic flow, it does help to take all of these folks and put them at one point of connection that is known rather than have too many points of connection. 2 is not too many, and that's a very fair point. We could look at doing 2, but what we don't want to do is get like 4 or 5. It may help some of the guys get out a little bit quicker, but when you have too many driveways, then there starts to be turning movement conflicts. And then I want to say one more thing about traffic calming. It has nothing to do with this project. And as some of you, I think, mentioned in the chat, and Councilmember Lee said, NDOT is going to be the final say-so on traffic calming measures. And there's risks and liability about traffic calming. You want to slow people down, but you don't want to get them hurt. You don't want to put a curb in there. But I'm going to show you guys something I just saw this past week that I thought was kind of cool. And I don't think Metro has implemented this anywhere. So I'm it's in Williamson County because I had to drive past here. So let's see if it was over here on Hidden Valley Road. It may or may not be in place. I thought this was good for a local road. It may not be good for Carruthers. There. I drove through that and I had to slow down significantly. Kind of looks kind of cool. So just something to keep in mind, Councilmember Lee and other people on the call. Again, this is in Williamson County. I've not seen this in Davidson County, but I thought it was a neat suggestion to try to calm traffic because I certainly had to slow down. But anyway, I'll go back to our plan. So
Thank you for the responses.
Ty, thank you for your question and feedback. Mr. Hodge, I think you had your hand up there.
Yes, I live at 544 Battle Road, directly opposite the middle of this proposal. This is the second meeting we've been invited to. Appreciate that, Council Lady. All those previous ones, nobody ever bothered to talk to us, and I don't believe any of your folks have knocked on my door. Possible that I work every day. I'm not at the house. My wife is most times. So I and my neighbor next door had not had anybody visit us. I think this does look better than the previous plan. A couple of questions though. Battle Road has a very nice sidewalk from Carruthers down to the park and beyond. I don't understand why you would want to put a fence there between the sidewalk and Battle Road. Is that where you would want that fence?
the fence is not a requirement. It is, we can totally take it off. I'm a dad of 3 little kids, and when when my wife walks to the park, because the kids always like to go to the park, she doesn't like having them right along the roadside. I got a 5-year-old boy who will dart out, and so that was just a way of, maybe that's something some people don't care about, but that's all it was. Is because
There
when,
is
when
a
I see a
large,
park, I think of kids wanting to go there. So it was a way of putting a barrier between kids and traffic. That was all.
there are folks walking that sidewalk now and biking and children. There is a large, a fairly deep drainage ditch between the roadway and the sidewalk. A fence seems totally redundant if that's where you're trying to put it. If you're trying to put it on the other side of the sidewalk where the houses are proposed, that would make a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, sure.
I would hope in your traffic calming, you would not do the humps that Metro is proliferating in residential areas. Those things are rough. I think the more gradual bump instead of the hump, the bump, where you've got a much wider base to go over, is much preferable. One other comment: there is no development like this on Battle Road, either section. So it is out of character with our rural area. That's all I have.
Mr. Hodge, can I ask a quick question? Make sure that I've got the right info for you. And we appreciate you participating in the last discussion we had about this property. Your email ends with Apex Ventures, is that right?
It's apexventuresinc.com.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, sir.
But
Mr.
I've got
Hodge,
your
did
comments,
you
Mr. Austin.
add
Thank you for your feedback.
before John said that, or was that lag from someplace else?
I did not understand you, Council Lady.
I thought I saw your hand up before John started talking. That might have been from a previous time.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else, please? Because I can't see all of the hands, or whoever wants to make a comment, just go ahead, please.
Hi, this is Adam. I'm a resident of Carruthers Farms, and I just wanted to note the proposed one exit entry. Not so much that there's one in this proposal, but where it is feeding out onto Carruthers Road. That part of Carruthers Road every morning during the week gets backed up with traffic right where that's going to feed into. And sometimes here over the past few months, traffic has been backed up all the way down past the barn on Carruthers Road. So it's already a bit of a jam there. And if you have this entire proposed neighborhood, feeding out into Carruthers Road right there, that's really going to create a problem. That's all I had.
And thank you,
No,
Adam.
that's good. I didn't say anything before, but I'm always against only one way in and one way out, because if somebody has a wreck right there, then people are stuck. But there's no easy way to say which one to have cars come in and out of the other one, because the traffic is very bad on that Carruthers, but Burkett as well. Adam, is your hand still up, or do you need to put your hand down so we can call? Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam.
All
I've got that note. I appreciate your feedback.
Next, please. Larry, are you on?
And Mr. Hodge, if that's you talking, we can't hear you.
Oh,
Sorry about that. I would suggest the existing driveway that comes out on Battle Road would be the logical place on the, I guess it'd be the north end there,
Yeah, I do. I think that
right
feels
next
like
to
it
the
will be a,
park property.
feels like a good natural place for it. I agree.
And there's enough sight distance between the middle of the property and that driveway to allow people to get out without hopefully being run over.
I appreciate that.
I'll tell you, I think they are getting all of the feedback that you are giving, especially John's comments as well. But there are quite a few people who have not said anything. So I would love to hear what you all have to say, so we're not just hearing from the same one. So even if you just have a question like Ms. Ty did, and I'm glad that you're on here too, Ms. Ty, if this is the first time you've been on here. And if you all have some other folks that have not been reached out to or don't really get the emails about this, remember you email Rosie, and she can put her, I'm going to ask her to put her email in the chat again, and just tell her that you're in District 33 and you'd like to be on the distribution email, and we send it actually to everybody in 33. Although I will tell you all, okay, so I'm jumping now because I didn't hear anybody saying, oh, I need to talk. And I don't see a hand, but I will tell you all, everybody that is on here now, that is in District 33, District 33 will be changing, and you may not be here any longer. So make sure there is a District 8 that is coming open. So please make sure that when you get your ID, your election ID in the mail, your voters cards, they're supposed to be on yellow paper this time, so people won't mistakenly throw them away. That happened a little before. Make sure you take a good look at that, because you may be switched into another district. You may be switched, you may be now in District 8, which means you may have, now all of the early voting precincts are going to be open, and of course you can use those, but some of your other ones may have changed. So make sure you check that before you head out. Do I have anybody else that wants to make a comment right now, give input on this particular project we're looking at?
Yeah, just to update folks, Council Lady, if you're on this side of I-24, you're likely still in District 33. If you're on the other side of 24, you're going to be in either District 32 or if you get to Murfreesboro Pike, on the other side of Murfreesboro Pike is where District 8 is. So Council Lady is correct about the changes that are about to happen.
It's like just when we get comfortable and know our districts well, they change them on us. So
Yes.
Every 10 years.
So let me give you this little piece since I haven't had anybody else to speak up on that again. I think my beautification person is on here. We had some calls about, we have been working hard on the road near Publix because that is terrible. But then we got some calls also on the connecting road between Publix and Thornton that had some stuff on it. And I think he wanted to speak to you all about that. So if you'll allow me to give him a couple of minutes. Commissioner Harrell, are you on here?
I am Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, sir.
So we received emails and someone, their complaint is that when they contact 311 in regards to the public access road behind the Publix off of Murfreesboro Pike, that they're telling them that code service that particular request and that the sheriff's department will have to pick up. I want to let everyone know that that is invalid information. We do use the sheriff's departments for certain areas. However, because of the property management and the owner of that property road, that private property, it is the property management's responsibility to maintain that area. So what I ask everyone is, if you see it right now, we have it. Right now we have it and it's really clean. And so as things start piling back up, I need everyone to make those requests through the hub. And if you contact 311 via the phone and they say, hey, we can't access it, please send myself or Councilmember Lee an email so that we can that area cleaned. Because as of right now, Monday has reported that ticket is closed, and I drove by and most of the it's really clean. There's no bulk items, and so we would like to keep it that way.
And Mr. Harrell is a candidate, I believe, for Council District 8 in this coming election. Is that correct, Mr. Harrell?
That is correct, John.
Excellent.
Yes, sir. And I want to say thank you for bringing that up, John. Yay, because I want to say Mr. Deontay has been a very, very hard worker and very conscientious about trying to help people understand how to get things cleaned up and then jumping right in and doing things, being very proactive. So I'm glad to see him on that ticket. Thank you so very much for bringing that up, John.
And Councilmember Lee, this is Larry.
Hi,
And
Larry.
you're going to lose me from District 33, but I'll be in District 8.
Oh, you're on the other side. I wasn't sure where you were.
Oh, I'm always on the other side.
I'll leave that alone, Larry. I'll leave that alone.
And Deontay, I drove on that service road yesterday. It looked a lot better until you got down toward Thornton's. So I'll probably drop something else on Hub Nashville.
Good.
To just keep after that property owner.
If you would send me the ticket number, and I will follow up as well.
Okay. And there's been some interest about what's going on. Hey, everybody, we've got a new Ace Hardware in District 38, 33, soon to be District 8. An Ace Hardware where Goodwill and I guess it was Thornhill used to be. And that is so exciting. So I'm really encouraging people to go local before they go to the big box stores, Lowe's and Home Depot. Prices may be $1 or $2 higher, but it's so much closer, so much more convenient, so much more helpful.
Thank you so very much, Larry. Anybody else have any comments?
I have one more thing, Council Lady Lee.
Please, sir.
So for the fiscal year, our district was allocated $3,000 for beautification projects. And so we have some funds remaining, project underway. So if anyone has an area that could use some landscaping, whether it's flowers, mulch that's in the right of way, please email me because we would like to use all of the funds. Is additional funding if we're not using the resources that we have. And so I've been spreading the word out on social media. I've also been speaking with people within community meetings. Please email me so that we can use these funds.
And I don't know what different community meeting buildings that we have. I know we have the Cane Ridge Club. I don't know if they need something else out there or any of the parks or anything, or even any of the schools, but that's great.
Yeah.
But saying that also,
Tawana, in regards.
good. Because I don't think I saw her on the call. Great, thank you. And let me ask you this, everybody that's on the call, if any of you have an interest in working with or being a beautification commissioner after the election or during the election, please let me know, because hopefully Mr. Harrell, I say Harold, Deontay will not be it any longer. So getting back to what the call is about, because it is now only, 3 more minutes to go. Any more comments? Because we usually do have a couple of meetings, so it doesn't sound like this is the end meeting. And I know the developers were taking notes and everything on the issues that were brought up. But does anybody else have any ending comments on this particular area, what we want to see, what we don't want to see, besides we need to leave it alone?
Yeah, Council Lady, we'd be happy to host a couple of more focused, at least an additional focused meeting with Mr. Martin and associates, Dale and Associates. So if Mr. Martin would just get together with us, we'll try to find a good time to hone in on some of the issues that were raised here, as well as those that were raised over the last year and a half. Thank you for this opportunity, though.
Thank you all.
Fine.
Like I said, we'd be
I'm
happy to participate.
always asking my folks to meet with community members so that they can talk over things and get a better view. So cool.
And I appreciate Councilman Lee. Thank you for the time. Thank you all for the feedback and input. I've managed and to take the notes, and I've written down some things from the chat. And John, we'd be happy to meet more and with the smaller group and some focus group in these certain areas and refine this and look at some updates that incorporate, a lot of this feedback as well. Of course, my preference would be in person with food, but I'm okay with, other options as well. So
Well, as long as you bring it.
hey, I'll bring some food, man. I'm a big guy. We've been to the club enough times.
The meeting was supposed to bring the food. I thought the host of the meeting was supposed to bring it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
So just know, with whatever happens, we will have another community meeting and it will come back there. And that's where I listen to how the community takes what's going on and that type of thing before any decisions to take anything forward goes.
Absolutely understood.
Thank you very much for this meeting. Very much appreciate all of y'all's time.
Thank you. And like I said, I think the list is going to be changing because the districts are going to be changing. But if you have some people that are in the district and didn't have a chance, didn't get anything, and they don't know why, then please send that information to Rosie so she can be put on the list. And I am getting a a listing of all of the emails and everything of the voters in District 33. And I'm going to try to incorporate that into my list so that everybody on there will be getting some information from us. So it is now, so mine says 7 o'clock. Yes, it's still on that. I'm on Eastern time right now, but that it says 7 o'clock. About time for us to go, unless somebody has something that they are just can't hold and want to have to say right quickly.
Just one thing to you personally. I'm sorry for your loss,
Oh.
and look forward to your presence back in the community.
Thank you, John. It was very sweet. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What I will say to you all is people have been through things, and if you don't realize how good family and friends are to you and how you don't need to be taking them for granted because you never know when they're not going to be here. It's all at a twinkle of an eye and you don't know what's going to happen. So the friends and the family that you have, don't forget to tell them how you value them every chance you get.
Thank you for that.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you, John. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's 7 o'clock. Y'all have time to go. It's not quite dark. Enjoy some time. Finish the snacks because you had dinner earlier. Thank you all, everyone, for taking out time to be on here. Thank you, Miss Rosie, for getting it all together.
Hey,
Rosie.
Ah, you know, she had a birthday not too long ago, y'all.
yeah, she's 40 something now.
42.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Thank you all. Everyone have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.